sometimes isn't going exactly as you have planned. Now we're into June, and you may have seen or heard that sometimes things go down a little bit in the summer as far as growing your business. If you don't have a solid strategy to start, then that can make it interesting. However, it doesn't have to be that way. So in this video, I am going to share 3 super simple strategies to help you to convert more clients so you can actually breeze through summer sales slumps. Hey, I'm Joyce Layman, and I help expert entrepreneurs and coaches leverage their unique brand to stand out online, sell more services, and make a bigger impact without the overwhelm. I have been getting lots of emails, and I've seen lots of posts on social, and people are talking about what you can do to get inventive and creative when it comes to marketing to get through summer sales slumps. Well, grab a pen and paper, and in case, because if you've sat on lives before, you know I fly through and give you as much as I can in a short amount of time possible. If you want the show notes, then drop the word summer in the chat, and I will send those over to you later this afternoon. So when it comes to summer, I know you're doing all the things, especially if you have kiddos and trying to figure out what to do with them when they're out of school, as well as what you can do for your business. Here are 3 tips. The first one is so simple, but I am surprised how many people don't do it. So my first question to you is, when was the last time you sent an email to your list? Because there's 2 ways to approach this. If you've been consistent with email marketing and you're sending out great content, that's great. But if you haven't given people updates on offers or even new offers, now is the perfect time to do that. Now, in case you don't have an email list, then the one thing you don't want to do is create an offer email and send it out without having warmed everybody up first. So with that, you're going to have to send some things of value, and then make a brief offer. So when I'm talking about offers, say you've got a full-on coaching program. That's fantastic. A good way to beat summer sales slumps is offer strategy calls. Offer an intensive. One of the things I did this spring is I actually put these on my website, so I have multiple ways to work together, because when I've been talking to folks before, they weren't necessarily ready for a full-on coaching program, but they knew that they needed support, and they were more than willing to invest to get that strategy session. So if you don't have that done yet, then that is a very simple way to do it. You don't have to create an elaborate landing page, but you do have to have the right messaging so it makes sense. And then, as well as, once somebody does say, yes, I need help with that, then what are you going to send them in advance? Is there going to be some sort of assessment? How easily can they book their call? But ultimately, it comes down to, if you're not making offers consistently, then that's one of the reasons why your revenue might not be where it's at. Now, I want to be clear with this. It's not about sending emails and posting content all the time saying, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. That's going to get people to turn off, delete. You're not going to get the engagement. But what happens is, if you send out an update and you say, hey, this is what I've got going on for summer. As an example, I mentioned my calls that I created earlier this spring, which are on my website. 3 different examples of calls that people can take advantage of. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm taking my incubator, which is a $1,000 program, and I'm going to be doing a flash sale starting next week. So instead of $997 for a full-on program, then they're going to have 24 hours to access a $97 flash sale with a version of the incubator. So think about your offer. As I said, maybe you've got a full-on coaching program, but you haven't been doing either strategy calls or maybe like a 3-hour intensive. So figure out where those spots are that you can fill in with your offers and send out an update to your list, post it on social, make sure there's a very clear call to action and people know the value that they're going to get. So make sure that your offers, as I said, they have a place that they can book a time. You want to make this as simple as possible and not overly complicated. Now, another thing to do is, if you're taking on new clients, then make sure that you're letting people know that you're taking on new clients. And that might be another thing. So I've talked about mini offers and strategy calls, but sometimes if you look at your coaching schedule, so say, for example, I have a yoga instructor, yoga for osteoporosis that she does. She does group classes, but she also takes on a handful of private clients. So say, for example, she's watching and she knows come July, she's going to have an opening for that. Then let people know that you've got that ability to take on a private client. This all gets into what are you offering? What are the gaps in your services? And how can you announce that to let people know that you have room? But be clear. Is it a group program? Is it a one-on-one? Is it a strategy call? How are you doing that? The other thing that you want to do too is it's not just make offers to your existing clients. You want to reach out to referral partners. One of the fastest ways that you can close business is through a trusted resource. And part of this is you want to make it as easy as possible for somebody. They need to know who your ideal client is. They need to know the type of pain that you solve, and potentially what is that person saying when they're looking for a possible solution for you. So you can't expect people to be out looking to potentially refer you somebody if you haven't given them the guidance to help them along to say, here's my ideal client, here's some things that they might be saying, and here's the best way to make that connection. And I've got a whole podcast that I'm doing on referral relationships, which is going to be launched next week. But those are some things to think about. So, but the biggest thing is you have to ask. If you have referral partners, as I said, or resource partners, they may not know that you have openings for new clients or that you have a new offer. So you have to keep them updated as what's going on, but make the ask. The biggest thing, you always ask, how can I help you as well? And then, as I said, make it as easy as possible. Either send them a link. Here's a brief email of something that you can send out. If you happen to spot somebody who might be an ideal client, the reason you do get very specific on who you want to work with is the last thing you want is one of your referral partners to go to the effort to refer somebody to you and they're not a good fit. The great thing is when somebody has influence over your decision maker, then it shortens your sales cycles by up to 75%. Sometimes it's even faster. I've seen that happen. So that's your first one, is you've got to make sure that your existing clients and your referral partners are aware of your offers. Now, step number 2 in your looking at sales strategies is reach out to past prospects that you've been talking to. It's easy to move on when somebody says no to an offer, but sometimes that could mean I'm just not ready yet. I've shared these stats numerous times before. 3% of qualified leads in your lead list are ready, willing, and able to make a purchase from you right now. Some of the scary stats, sales stats, and I have shared these before, 44%, these are salespeople, give up after one attempt. Somebody says no, and they're like, oh, they're not interested, and they never reach out and have a conversation with that person again. These are actual salespeople, full-time business development folks. 44% give up after one attempt. Then the second stat, 92%. So the majority of salespeople give up after the fourth attempt. Interestingly enough, 60% of clients say that they weren't ready to say yes until the fourth attempt. So get that. 44% of people give up, they get a no, and they're done, and they never go back to that person. But 92% of clients say it took somebody asking 4 times. Now, just as I said in the first strategy, this isn't about hounding people and constantly pushing your offers in their face. That is a great way to get people to unsubscribe and unfollow you. What you need to do is, if you've got, it can either be in a CRM, or if you're my low tech, no tech folks, then an Excel spreadsheet. So if you have the individual's name, you've been having conversations and you know what are their biggest challenges, what are they looking for, and you can go back to them and reach out and just start a conversation. You don't reach out to go, hey, I've got an offer that I want to promote. This strategy is simply about reaching out to say what's going on in your world. And as long as you have enough information, then it's a great way to catch up. So here are some very specific things. As I said, if you want the show notes, then drop the word summer in the chat. I know some folks show up live. I always get messages that people can't show up live, but they come back after the fact and they'll send me a DM. If you're a little bit more introverted and you don't want to comment in front of a live audience, then shoot me a DM on the platform that you're watching this on and I will get those to you. Okay, so with that, here are the questions you're going to ask. And make sure, as I said, your mindset, treat this like a mini strategy call or a discovery session. This is all about getting more information and then adding value back to the individual. So you want to find out, where are they currently having success? What's going well in their business right now? Where are they feeling stuck? Now, if, for example, you're a health coach, it doesn't have to be business related. It can be where they're having success with exercise, with eating, with reducing their stress. Where are they feeling stuck? They have no energy, things like that. So don't think the examples I'm giving you are specifically for business folks. These can apply to any of your potential clients, or I should say your prospects that you've been talking to. Then question number 3 is, what are they looking for in way of support to help them get over that hump? So what do they think that they need to help get unstuck? This is where I'm going to give you that caveat. I've shared it before. The majority of time, what people think they need is not what they actually need. So you know this if you're an expert in what you do, but listen to what they think that they need and help guide them on that. Don't try to push them to what you know they need at that point, because right now you're just asking a lot of great questions. You want to find out. It's like, well, we talked in the past. If you've been keeping great notes, when you talked, you can say at that time, this is what we were visiting about. Find out, have they invested in any DIY courses? Are they out YouTubing it or just downloading a bunch of lead magnets that they're not necessarily putting into play? So find out if they've been investing their time. If they've actually invested with somebody, then what did they like out of the program? Are they still in the program? You just kind of want to find out, as I said, where they're at and to see if you can be a resource for them. And then the big question is, what's that next best step for them right now? Because out of the stats that I shared earlier, 92% of clients say somebody has to ask them 4 times. You never know where somebody's at in their process when you're going to be that ideal fit. So that's why asking questions are great. Then the other cool thing about this is, even if they're not ready to invest with you right now, you've just gotten a lot of great insights that you can turn into social media content. You can turn it into email content. It could even be a potential lead magnet that should come out of this. So, as I said, going back through to your prospect list. Now, if, for example, you have no prospect list, your list is going into Facebook and you're sending DMs, or you're going into Instagram, but you don't have one place where you have everybody and you've got that information stored, then that is the first place you need to start. You want to create that list so you know who you're talking to, what platform you found them on. So easy to do in an Excel spreadsheet. What are their biggest pain points? What are they doing that's worked for them? How long have they either been in business, or how long have they been, struggling with this health issue? Or maybe it's not struggling. How long have they been focused on wellness? I had that shift for me when it came to health and wellness in my early 30s. And from then on, it was an adventure. So it wasn't really a health issue that I had, but I was seeking new information because I wanted to be able to do, optimize everything that I had. So listen to what your prospects are saying. Sometimes it's not a challenge, but there might be somebody that's interested in leveling up their business or leveling up their health, whatever that might be. All right. Then here is a quick bonus tip. Now, if you've got an extensive lead list and the thought of going through and reaching out to everybody is overwhelming, typically it isn't. But another thing you can do is do a quick live, do even a Loom video if you've got an email list, but give a couple of quick updates. Let people know where you're at. Going back to announce your offer if you're taking on new clients, whatever that might be. But give them information so that way they are better prepared when they are ready to make a decision. But just don't give up in case you get a no. Remember, that might be a not now. I've talked to very busy moms over the summer that said, I know that I need to work with you, but I also have 3 kids who are out of school right now, and the thought of taking on one more thing is going to make my head spin, but they do want me to follow up with them in August or September. So going back to your Excel spreadsheet, take great notes. You've got to take great notes so you know what your ideal clients are looking for. All right. That being said, if you want the show notes, then drop the word show notes and I will send them to you. All right. Strategy number 3. This is one I love, but I haven't seen a lot of people do. And this is hosting an exclusive roundtable. Now, if you watched my lives for any length of time, you know I go live every single week and I go live out on social media on different platforms. However, an exclusive roundtable is something that you would do via Zoom. This goes back to if you have your prospect list from strategy number 2, then this is where you can reach out to very specific people. You would send an individual email. You could leave a voice memo in either LinkedIn or, you can do it on Facebook as well. But let them know that you've got an exclusive roundtable opportunity. This is where you want to be very specific. Who are these people that you want to bring together that you know could benefit from a conversation as well as connecting with each other? So the point of this is you're not bringing them together to pitch them what your offer is. You're bringing them together to add value. And when you look at stats, then on average, 3% of people at any given time are ready, willing, and able to buy. These might be folks that you've been talking to for quite a while, but it's that extra, you need to add value. It could be somebody you just met, but you know they're a perfect fit for this roundtable. You put them in the room, then you're making introductions to the other people. You're sharing great insights. This is where you need to know what topics are going to be of value to them. What are they looking for? What do they need help with? And the one thing I tell my clients regularly, one of the benefits of coming into my community, yes, I have the education to teach them, but some of the best ideas, and especially the accountability and support, come from the other people in the program. That's what I love about bringing people together. So think about your exclusive roundtable in the same way. It's a meeting of the minds. If you bring these people together, you're the one facilitating the conversation and you're keeping it going. You're also taking great notes, but then they see you as that connector. As I said, I've got my podcast coming up on that. It's so important. But this is where it helps you to be able to continue the conversation after the fact. Because if somebody sees that you are the expert, you are willing to add value, it's so much easier than attempting to do a cold call and seeing what happens. I also tell people to keep a very open mind because it may not be the person that you're talking to that needs your support right now. It might be somebody that they know. So that's why roundtables are so important. Now, one of the things I will give you, it will be in the show notes, but I'm going to run through this pretty quick here. So if you're wondering what to say, you can send this either as an email, you can send it as a DM. I'd highly suggest personal emails to each person, not just, send this out. But, a great example is I'm gathering a small group of, and I would say driven women, depending on what your business is. You want to make sure that you've got that great adjective. It could be individuals interested in, XYZ. And is it men? Is it women? Is there a specific age? But putting together a group of women for me who are wanting to, it's grow their online business. Well, that's a little vague. So right now I've got a special quiz session that I'm doing that I want to bring people together to talk about quizzes and lead magnets and things like that. So you're going to fill that in. And then it can either be their life or business. And then would you like to join us? This is not a webinar or online workshop. You need to be very, very specific. It's not a webinar or online workshop. It is an exclusive conversation. It's invite only, and it's for a small group who want to be part of the discussion. Would you like an invitation? So when you're sending that email out, you're not sending out saying, hey, I'm doing this. Let me know if you want to come. It's You send it out as a teaser and say, hey, I've got this going on. Would you like to get an invitation? Somebody might come back and say, hey, I'd like to get more information. You could book a quick call with them just to catch up or answer the questions that they have. So as I said, this is where these roundtables are a phenomenal way to do this, because you're going to engage in a group conversation. And then if somebody says, yeah, this is so pertinent, then go ahead and make an offer to do a follow-up call. You don't necessarily have to pitch what you have right then. This is how you can get those conversations flowing. So, and the nice thing, you don't have to do it in person. You can do this virtually. So with that, I want to do a quick recap. So the first strategy for easy business growth is send out an email to your list and let them know about updates. Either you're taking on a new client, you've got a new offer that you're putting out there, but go ahead and do an update, an email update to your list. You also can post it on social. Know that it's going to be more difficult to get eyes on a social post, but that's not to say it's not going to work. So just get strategic about the messaging that you're putting out there and what they're going to receive, and then make sure and have your landing page ready to go. Or it could be simply reply to this email for more information. All right. Strategy number 2 is reach out to potential prospects. These are the people that you've had on your list. It can either be in your CRM or in an Excel spreadsheet. You want to let them know what you've got going on in your business, if there's a super cool offer that you have coming up. So, excuse me. See, I'm so excited. It's if you've got an offer that's coming up, but most importantly, it is how you can add value back to them, what you can do to add value to them. And then you would go through your list of questions. So somebody, and I've had this happen before, you send it out an email and they're like, oh yeah, are you doing that incubator thing again? And they immediately respond back and they are ready. But other times it's just a matter of getting to know you. As I said, the great benefit about this is you actually get content ideas to put out on social media. It could be a lead magnet. So it's about adding value and then being a fantastic listener to get feedback. Your third strategy is hosting an exclusive roundtable, because when you do that, you are hand selecting the people that you want to put into the room, because you know that they can benefit from getting to know each other. But most importantly, these are folks that you've talked to in the past, or they could be fantastic resource partners that may know of somebody, but it's all about having a great conversation, facilitating introductions, and then having that soft offer that would you like to have a clarity call or a strategy call, whatever you want to call it, but you give them a way to take that next step. This is done via Zoom. It is not done via live. And of course, you're going to send out an email, or you can send a DM, or you can send a voice memo and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm looking for this type of person, and I'm looking to see if you're interested, in joining us, and if you'd like an invitation. So it's kind of that fact-finding mission first, but that is a great way to do it. So out of the 3 strategies, here's my question to you is choose one. I would love to know which activity that you're going to focus on here in the next couple of weeks. And then another thing that you could do is I love this. I was in LinkedIn last week and I had a gentleman who took a screenshot of my video, copied it, and put it in a message to me. And so he said specifically, this is what I'd like. If you know of somebody that needs these 3 strategies, then please tag them in the comments and let them know, because we would love to get those strategies to them. All right. So if you want the show notes, because I have gone through a lot, I want to make sure that you've got the email invite sequence and of course the questions that you want to ask in strategy number 2, then drop Summer in the comments and I will send you the show notes when we get done. And if you use these tips, if you use 1, you will get results. If you use 3, I promise you will get some great results to help you breeze through any summer sales slumps that you might have. Oh, and by the way, I am going to be putting out my flash sale starting next week. So if you want the inside scoop on that, then send me a DM and I will let you have that in advance as well. So with that, thanks for your time, and I will see you next week.